Without getting too much into detail, I just did a long-form podcast with Tucker, kind of laid out the entire politics of the issue. But look, after serving 20 years, mostly deployed to the Middle East, fighting the wars over there, and just seeing how our country had been lied to and brought down the wrong path in those wars, and that we were getting sucked into another one, and that the American people didn't have the full story, and our country did not have a vital national interest in this current fight. I said, hey, I in good conscience can't do this, because that was a promise I made to myself probably 20 plus years ago when I was deployed to Iraq. Once I realized after my first couple deployments that we weren't there for the reasons that our government told us we were there for, I said, if it's ever my turn, if I'm ever an adult in this situation, I ever have a position of responsibility, I will not in good conscience send young men and women off to die on foreign battlefields. Our leaders will hear us if we all speak out. We're at a critical juncture in the war in Iran. We need to let our leaders hear that we do not support this war. We do not think there's a vital national security interest. We want to bring our troops home. We want to work towards peace in that region. We do not want 20 plus more years of bloodletting. And then as we head into this next election cycle, demand from everyone, from every political party, go to them, go to your representatives and say, I will not vote for you if you are going to vote for the continuation of these wars overseas. And by no means, I don't expect anybody here to be some kind of a pacifist. If our country is attacked, we will attack. If there's an imminent attack, we will attack. If there's an actual threat, we will attack and we will fight that. However, we cannot continue to go down this path. We have to make that clear to our leaders. That's what gives me hope.
The
message is clear. Our enemies are not each other. They are war, poverty, hunger, and injustice. We cannot defeat them by fighting alone or looking after only ourselves. Instead, we must rally the world and build a common future. Alone, one is helpless. United can have great strength. The truth and value of this vision are sinking in with people around the world. It is like a beacon lighting the way forward for humanity. This vision encapsulates how China sees its role in the world and in history as a major country. The Chinese have always had a noble tradition of acting for the common good and pursuing harmony for all. Our great rejuvenation as a nation and our rise as a country of 1.4 billion people will not follow the beaten track where big powers vied for supremacy and territory. On the contrary, we will take a path of peaceful development, and we encourage other countries to take the same path. Together, we can build an open, inclusive, clean, and beautiful world that enjoys lasting peace, universal security, and shared prosperity. We are encouraged by the growing support for this vision. More than 100 countries and international organizations have embraced it, and nearly 80% of people around the world are in favor. Over 40 countries and regional organizations have joined us in realizing this vision. This attests to the saying that right makes might. A righteous cause is sure to garner mighty support of world's countries and pull the strength of the people. The future of humanity is bright, but it will not dawn on its own. Building a community with a shared future for humanity is both a beautiful vision and a historic process. It requires the united efforts of many generations. China will press ahead with conviction and concrete steps and work with any and all to make it a reality.
What damage was likely done to Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure back in June, Victor? You probably remember the Trump administration repeatedly told us Iran's nuclear program was obliterated. So my question to you is whether this time around, is it still about Iran's nuclear and military capabilities, or is it about something else?
Well, first of all, as far as the Middle East is concerned, it is completely unacceptable for one country, that is Israel, to have developed the nuclear weapons and sometimes to declare their intention to use nuclear weapons, and at the same time to deny another country, which is Iran, a sovereign country with its own independence, from developing nuclear weapons. Now, Iran has repeatedly reaffirmed that it has no intention to develop nuclear weapons, but it has the right to use nuclear power for peaceful purposes. So I think this whole issue needs to be brought to a negotiation table, and there was an international agreement covering the peaceful use of nuclear power by Iran, but the United States chose to walk out of that agreement, which eventually led to the war and conflagration we are faced with as we speak. So I think it is time for the United States to really do what a major power is supposed to do, to exercise its leadership and statesmanship, to engage in peaceful negotiation rather than resorting to war, especially United States should refuse to be misguided by Israel and its prime minister, and refuse to be used as an instrument by Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu in using the U.S. military power to commit acts of aggression against Iran. I don't think the American people want to fight a war against the Iranian people, and I hope things will go back to normal and de-escalation will happen, and the United States will really think twice before they pull the trigger, including when they are misled by another country, in this case, Israel, and especially its Prime Minister Netanyahu, in taking advantage of the U.S. military power to invade and committing acts of aggression against Iran.
How did Donald Trump, after 10 years of saying one thing, do in the pivotal act of his presidency exactly the opposite?
We've spent $5 trillion in the Middle East. We've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East. $6 trillion in the Middle East. We could have rebuilt our country twice. We've spent $8 trillion in the Middle East. And we're not fixing our roads in this country? How stupid is it?
The Pentagon asked the White House for $200 billion for Iran war supplemental. Can you explain why a package this large is necessary?
$200 billion. I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys. And we're not fixing our highways, our tunnels, our bridges, our hospitals even, our schools even. It's crazy.
We will keep America out of foolish, stupid, ridiculous foreign wars.
We had these endless wars that go on for 21, 22 years, spending billions and billions of dollars. We're getting out of the endless wars.
Great nations do not want to fight endless wars.
They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
We will keep America out of foolish, stupid, ridiculous foreign wars.
We had these endless wars that go on for 21, 22 years, spending billions and billions of dollars. We're getting out of the endless wars.
Great nations do not want to fight endless wars.
They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
That we need to send a clear message to our citizens and the rest of the world that Europe is with multilateralism and is with international law, and we are against this war. We are against this war because it's illegal, there's no reason behind it, and it's causing a lot of damage. Civilians, of course refugees, and the economic consequences that the whole world, especially this global south, is already suffering.
Trust the plan. 5D chess. Trust the plan. Trust the plan. Trust the plan. Trust 5D chess. Israel controls you all.